see what
Strike
pops up.
terror into
I
the hearts
promise.
of enemies of Allah and your enemies. That's Quran 8.
Right. I mean,
16.
and the Bible says very similar things about that. The Bible
Like-
very, very, very clearly
That's
says
what
when
you're
God
gonna
is
give
with
me a
you, you'll
perfect
strike fear
source.
into your enemies, right? Like,
Because, no, he doesn't.
those
He
are
doesn't.
almost word for word quotes from each other, right? Like,
No, the Bible would never tell you to kill
have you?
people. It would never say that.
It doesn't.
Never.
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
never. It never. Not
Never.
a single time in there does it condone
Unless you're
violence.
gay.
Never.
Or you cheat.
or
you're a
you live in
fabric
Sodom and
smith.
Gomorrah at all whatsoever,
Or you work on a
basically.
Sunday.
Heaven forbid you work on a Sunday. That's like an insult.
That's what Muslims believe is the old covenant. Actually, not Christians.
Oh,
They believe in stoning the gays.
yeah.
That's why it's so
Yeah,
violent.
they just, for whatever reason,
yeah.
still keep half of the Old Testament. They're like, oh, yeah, we like the Ten Commandments. That's good. But we have a new covenant, but we're going to keep those ones. We're still going to criticize people for that one. We're still going to take the quotes from the Old Testament that say don't be gay, and we're going to make that 90% of our culture, even though there's nothing in the New Testament that says anything about it, and there's this new covenant. We're going to live our lives based on all the other things from the Old Covenant, but then we're going to claim whenever we're pressed about the Old Covenant, oh, no, we live in a new covenant, even though 70% of our culture is still from the Old Covenant, right? Yeah, okay.
They like to say that Jesus has quoted things from the Old Covenant, and whenever he quotes something from the Old Covenant, then that also applies to the new one, and that's how they get to sometimes cherry pick things.
He died.
Oh, and they do. They pure cherry picking.
He died for you. That's what he's saying.
Oh, that's great.
Who said that?
Jesus and the Old Testament.
Please, when did Jesus say he was dying for us?
It is finished. I mean, fulfilling the entire prophecy that he was born of a virgin and to die for your sins of the Old Testament.
My Lord, why have you forsaken me?
That's the beauty of it. That's awesome that you brought that up.
That's the beauty of it.
That is what he said. Yes, because that's what was prophesied before in the Old Testament, that the son, while he was being sacrificed, would say, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" He was fulfilling the prophecy because he knew the word so well.
Is Jesus alive?
I would have to say yes.
So where's the sacrifice exactly?
Do you not understand?
God damn, that one is actually such a good one, bro. That's one of the best ones I've heard in a minute, dude. Thank you. I'm stealing that one, bro. When you do that. Oh.
I'm sorry you don't understand.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna get gaslit into understanding. I mean, I have no idea what the sacrifice is.
Being God put into human form and then suffering, but being he was perfect. He lived a perfect life. So before that we were just killing cows and raising our best lamb and then killing it because it's a sacrifice. Because there's the wages of sin. We fucked up way in the beginning. We were just
I wasn't there at the beginning. Personally, I'm perfect. I didn't do anything.
That's a different we. When you say we, I don't think it's like a we. Yeah. It's a you we, right?
Maybe you did something fucked up. I don't know. I didn't eat from the tree. I promise. I've never seen the tree before in my life.
You would do it too.
No, I wouldn't. You think an all-powerful person would be like, hey, you can do anything but eat from this tree, and I would one day be like, fuck that guy, and I just go and eat from that tree. I would never do that in my life.
Breathe life into existence, but I'm just gonna not do what that guy says.
Yeah. He's gonna make a woman out of dirt, and I'm just gonna be like,
curious.
fuck that guy.
Well,
you would be tempted with wisdom. You'd be tempted
I would build a
wisdom.
wall around that house and throw away the key. Okay.
So you're not tempted by wisdom, then why are you on a debate server?
I am tempted by wisdom, but not if God, like, rained down on me and said, you will suffer forever if you are tempted by this specific piece of wisdom. I'd be like, you know what, man? That's
not
cool.
just you,
That's
but
cool.
you and all that come after you. Like, yeah.
Your entire species will be fucking doomed.
Because that's what we showed our true colors. We would all do it. You would
Again,
do it.
I don't know about this we. I don't know about this we guy.
That's a very liberal we for sure.
I mean, even Adam didn't want to do it. It was just Eve, right? So maybe when you say we, you mean women, just women.
Yeah,
right? Just women.
Did Eve force it down his throat? I'm sorry.
No, he forced it down her throat.
Fucking too good.
I mean, the temptation didn't even arise until some random snake came along. Like, Jesus fuck. Like, God didn't know about the snake.
He did.
And he was like, I'm gonna see if they're gonna do it. I already know they're gonna do it because I gave them the temptation. And now I'm gonna see if they're gonna give into that temptation which I made, and I made that temptation stronger.
Because he already knows it, right? He already knows it. It's not even seeing. He already knows it's gonna. Because in the very initial conversations he's having in Genesis, he's talking about Mary, right? So it's like you know, if you take the interpretation of it correctly, so it's like he wasn't wondering at all. It's just determinism. We have no free will. We don't make choices. Like, they were guaranteed going to eat the fruit, and all the things that happened after that were guaranteed to inevitably happen. We're just a bunch of molecules bouncing around reacting to each other. There's no free will. Like, where would you get that idea? Like,
because there was free will and we fucked it up.
I would slightly disagree on the free will thing, but he definitely knew what was gonna happen.
Who?
Who knew?
Oh, God. How are you gonna fucking tell? Like,
how would God know?
You have to be. If we're created fearfully and wonderfully made, right? So there's a fear. There's a little bit of a fear there. That's true.
He made an accident? He accidentally made us wrong?
He made us with free will in his image. So he knew that we could fuck up. And in the story,
from the tree. That's
it's interpreted as the tree, like, of knowledge of good and evil, because the temptation was wisdom. Because the snake was like, this won't kill you, because God was like, if you eat from this one tree, surely you will die. And they were tempted by the snake, the fallen angel, because when he said created in my image, he said created in our image. He already had angels. That one that fell, he was tempting free will. And if you really think about it, it makes sense, because God was lonely, and you don't want to create robots. You want to create something like a child with free will to love you.
Sorry, and so none of the free will made any sense.
It's an option. Okay, well, I'm trying.
Why?
Sorry.
First of all, no reason for him to be lonely. Second of all,
when did he say he was lonely? Which scripture is that from? Where are you pulling that?
That's not a scripture. That's more into.
It's like an interpretation of gods in general. Gods are seen to be so powerful that they're lonely all the time. It's like in a million other things. It's not like a Bible specific.
It's not. It's in a million other things. Well, it is. And, you know, the Anunnaki, like, even into like that type of shit. It's still like relatable to a god, a larger being that
it's not relatable to an all-knowing, all-powerful god. That's it. Just that would not make any sense that he would even have any feelings, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's not in the Bible.
This is a trait that is given to usually gods that are not considered to be all-powerful and all-knowing. These are usually just like maybe like deities or something. Like these are not like universe creating and universe ending kind of gods.
When you think at the start, if you think of like the Big Bang, okay, if that's your god, if that's where you
why the hell would the Big Bang be my god?
Okay, so but that's because you think that's the start of your existence. That's what you're serving, and that's even if you don't fully believe it, you don't really believe anything else. So
I mean, you just had to redefine God to try and make that sound like it could be my god.
I'm saying you don't have faith in anything, so what you're saying is that you're the most likely. Do you not believe that the most likely, like, origin story is the Big Bang?
That's not the most likely. That is the origin story.
Okay, so you're fully atheist. You fully are like, this is where we came from, and there's nothing that
You
could
don't
convince
have
me
to be an
otherwise.
atheist to know that the Big Bang actually happened, but yes, I am
Wow.
atheist.
Yeah.
No, I
Right, like you can
don't.
believe in the Big Bang and be a devout Christian. Just to be
I
clear, I
think
don't. There's
Literally.
no separation there. Like it's not like
My church,
one
my
is a
church
path of
literally,
Christianity and one is a path of science. That's
to
crazy.
my church literally
believe
preached like,
in
how do we
some
know God did the Big Bang? Like that was the spin
Yeah.
they had on it.
No,
to be
exactly. Absolutely.
convinced
Like
that we know as humans in the last 50 years that uh, according to our own same science, we've been like evolving for like what 200,000 years before this, but it's only in the last 50 years that we've come to terms with awareness of the universe and the fact that we're on a floating ball. And now you're saying
that's not
that
true.
believe
It's
in
been
evolution.
hundreds of
fully
years.
now
Like no,
after
no,
just
no,
like
no.
We can
20
let the
years of
small
science, you're like,
details
yeah,
pass.
I'm
Yeah,
fully
whatever.
convinced after 10 years of science, even though we've been wrong like every other time before, I'm fully convinced we do know what happened like 300 trillion years
Well,
ago.
it's because we have facts to back it up now. Like it was just
Not
theory
really.
before.
Not it's a theory. It is a
The,
theory. The
the
theory of
issue is that
evolution.
you're
The
actually
theory of the Big Bang.
projecting religion onto science here. You're saying science has been
Yes,
wrong
it's
every
always
time
related.
before.
I don't
Science
see
as
how
we
we
know it
cannot
has
correlate
only
it.
emerged in like the last few hundred years with like the Renaissance and all that. What has been wrong every step of the way has always been God. Sacrificing your child for the rain, God. Right? Doing this for God. Oh, the earth is flat because God said so. I don't know where humans came from. They must have come from God. That's been the argument that has always been wrong. That's why it's called
Yeah.
God of the gaps. You'll never hear science
And
of
that's
the
why
gaps
they're
because that's
mentioned
not
in the
real.
Bible. Like all of those false idols are mentioned in like so much of it is mentioned in the Bible.
What
It
false
has
But like,
idol?
how do you recollect with the fact? How do you deal with the fact that you just admitted that we've been evolving for hundreds of thousands of years? Yet,
I
if
did not
you
just
take
look
the
at that
telling of the
because I don't
no,
believe that.
you wait,
Wait, so you don't believe that? I was gonna ask that. Do you believe in evolution?
wait.
No.
Of course not.
Okay, but like, I'm
So no
not
logic.
even talking about evolving. That's not the relevant.
I
You
don't
believe that
believe in
humans were
the
here creating history for hundreds of thousands of years, right? You said that, right? You literally just said that. Like, I swear I got a pull script, right? Like we have not. We've been
I'm
around for a while,
sarcastic
right? Like
sometimes.
you're
I'm
saying
really
we.
sarcastic sometimes, but also I pull that up because I'm like, according to you, we've been around for 200,000 years doing the same shit, but only in the last
So
50
how
years
long have
have
we
new
been here in your
generations.
mind then? How long have humans been here in your mind then?
I don't know. I don't really have the perfect
She's a
answer to
young
that.
Earth creationist. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
wondering.
it.
Like, is it?
I'm not
Let me just throw
sure.
some numbers out there, and you say up or down. Okay, is it 1,000 years, up or down?
I don't know.
You don't know if we've
There's
been
no
here for
way.
1,000 years or not?
She
Okay,
has
fair
no.
enough. That's a
Have we
great.
been here
That's a
for
great place
50
to end the
years?
conversation on.
Like
Then
10,000
have we been
years.
have we been here for more than 40? Like, are we up or down?
She's like,
40?
at least
Up or
as
down?
long as I've been here. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
Based on our
Were we even
history
here
and
yesterday? Are we
our
not just like
evolution,
conglomerates of
I would say
like,
10,000 years.
10,000. You're coming with 10,000. Okay, so how do you recollect the fact that the Bible, says it's what 6,000 or 7,000 years old? It's like that's the creation. That's the whole
It's not
telling of
really
history.
sure. Yeah, it's
Is it?
not
Is
really
it?
specific.
It's some stupid math about how long people have lived and died, and then they're like, it looks like the entire history of everything is only 6,000
Well,
years.
well,
It's one
that's
of them.
the entire
It's
chain
one
of
of the
people from this
examples.
to this. Yeah, and those are the numbers. It's like, well,
guys, God
It is
planted
a
the
thing.
fossil.
No, they
No, it was
were.
the devil who
There was
planted
a
the
flip.
fossils.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
to give doubt, right? To sow the doubt, Yeah.
I mean, why do you doubt science, Kate?
Because we haven't been around long enough, and every single time we make a new advancement, we completely demolish the last understanding we had of science.
What
It's
was the
like it's
last
not
time a new
inconceivable.
advancement demolished a previous
Usually it doesn't.
understanding?
I mean, I would say it
Are you
doesn't
serious?
demolish. It like opens up the understanding. Like when was
Did
the
you
last time we
just
demolished our understanding? Like,
did you just want me to tell you the last time we've made an advancement in science?
I mean,
I don't
any.
want to
And
do that.
No,
destroy
I
that
mean, right.
demolished our
Yeah.
understanding. Yeah.
I want to,
Yes,
Like,
please.
like, an
well,
example? In, like, the
okay. So we
past
don't.
maybe 100 years?
In like for example with like gravity, we have that figured out. But
Sure.
when it comes to space, and the inconceivable amount of time we've been here and how light travels, like we have a good understanding of that, but that the science changes with what we understand. We understand, for example, like there's dark matter, but we don't know what it is. It's just a mathematical equation to like offset like this thing that we don't understand. So our understanding of our core reality is changing. And also if you look at
Okay, but what previous
carbon
scientific
dating,
knowledge did we say we know this for sure? And then new science came
so
and we
the
said
Earth
now
is
we
flat.
now the Earth was flat was a scientific proposition
Yeah, that's what they taught in schools.
in Bible schools.
When
No,
did they
Like,
teach in school that
you
the Earth is
realize they
flat?
thought
When
the
did
Earth
when
was
was that
flat
taught?
because of the
common
Bible.
consensus. Exactly like we
And I
teach
said
it
in the
today.
past
It's
100
not just
years.
the Bible. It's just what we thought. It doesn't have to
We,
be.
we would have to stretch 2,000 years before the
100 years.
Renaissance. Can we
Oh,
stick to
sorry,
like
I
the
didn't
past 100
to your
years?
timeline.
Yeah,
Okay, the last
please,
100
my
years.
timeline, please.
The last 100
For the record, we've
years.
known the Earth wasn't flat since the 3rd century BC, just to be clear. So
I'm just using that as a really good example because that was
That's a
fundamental shift in
terrible
our
example.
understanding
Where
of
was
our-
science when we thought Earth was flat? What where was
Dude,
the
this
scientific
was back when we were
community?
sacrificing goats for the rain still, right? Like this was science.
Like, yeah, I mean,
you underestimate humans in the past a lot. I think that you underestimate.
I'm saying there was no
our-
scientific community back then. There's a scientific community now.
Oh yeah,
There was no scientific method. There was no scientific method.
They were just barbarians out there living.
They're not necessarily barbarians, but that doesn't mean that they have the philosophy necessary to actually make good science. God disconnected her.
How come they don't have smaller brains? How come if they die, like the people from like 400 years ago that had these philosophies, which is when the Earth was flat, they die and they have the same.
Maslow's theory of hierarchy. When you're trying to
them.
survive, you're not making philosophical advancements. You're not sitting there thinking for hours about why the Earth is this or maybe that. You're not looking at the stars. It's the simplest thing in the world.
I think they definitely looked at the stars. I think they had
in
it
a
figured
different
out.
way.
Yeah, before
in
bed.
a totally different way.
They had an entire
as a
understanding
tool.
of the solar system. They just thought they were at the center of it.
Well, yeah, but it's really difficult to just look up at the stars and be like, oh, it looks like we're not the center.
So
it looks like you are the center of the solar system.
When the breakthrough came in that the Earth wasn't flat, they didn't have
300
like
years before
hundreds
Jesus.
of years. No, they didn't have like a substantial amount of years before that where they were calculating the angles in the skies. To where
no. If we're still at a time where people thought
they
the
were
Earth
doing
was
that?
flat,
You're wrong.
our most
They were
advanced
absolutely
math
studying
was
the
algebra.
skies. They were mathematically smarter than us in these senses. They were able to use their common sense without all of the like abilities.
Without
we have
all
now.
this evidence just in the way. Yeah, they were just able to think about things.
It's not evidence.
As time goes on, more evidence comes up, right? We have better technologies to get more evidence to prove things. That's just how it is. And like
but who's
the Bible has
proving
been
it?
disproven many times over.
Can we just stick to the
back,
past like 100 years? Can you show me any scientific advancement that is just fundamentally destroyed? Even past like 200 years, if like just not thousands of years ago when we thought the Earth was flat.
That wasn't
when religion was created to define everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe washing your hands in running water. Like we realized that still water was killing so many parents, and it like actually changed the medical.
So I'm not saying we found out something new. I'm saying we found out something new, and then we were like, "Oh my God, this previous understanding is completely wrong." No one thought still water or all these things were extremely safe, and they wrote that in the literature. They were like, hey, still water is really safe. Use this in all your medical procedures.
Shit at all. It wasn't even just still water. They just weren't washing shit in general.
You don't know about that? No. That was in medical. In order to be a doctor, you used a bowl of still water. That's how they delivered a lot of babies during that time, and it was killing a lot of the mothers because they would wash their hands in a bowl of water.
But there was no scientific consensus that said we did the research. There was no
Yes,
scientific consensus
there
that said we
was.
did the research and we looked into this and still water is really safe. This
There was no
a
research done,
misconception.
I don't know how you don't get that part. If they did, the moment they did the research, the first guy that came up and said, "Hey, you know what? We should wash our hands with running water." That guy was fucking laughed out of the medical field and shamed and politically destroyed, right? But it wasn't like as soon as they did the research, 20 years later, as soon as a microscope was invented, the moment the fucking microscope was invented, and we looked down, and we went, "Oh shit, viruses and bacteria, these things are here. Holy shit! Yeah, we should wash our hands." Like it wasn't.
Medical Journal discourse on using plain still water for doctors in the 1900s reflected a shift in professional opinion regarding its therapeutic value and its safety, particularly compared to more popular and commercialized mineral waters. Running water,
when I
still
say
water and still water, where that's just talking about non-carbonated water. That's not a pool of water sitting there. That's non-aerated water. That's what still water is.
Let's be more specific.
That running water was helpful to making people
As soon as we had scientific evidence, as soon as we had an ability to do a test to see, we did, and we went, "Oh, this is the right way to do it," and we did it that way. Like it wasn't the opposite. It wasn't like we did a bunch of tests that proved, in fact, we shouldn't wash our hands. We didn't use a bunch of microscopes to look at bacteria and say, "You know what? We shouldn't wash our hands because of those things." That never happened.
The consensus was driven by the late 19th century embrace of the germ theory of diseases, which was a revolutionary time.
Yes, so now you have a consensus, right?
Of science.
Yes. So now we have a consensus. So can you show me
what broke that?
Right, what would break that consensus, right? But you can't look back and be like, because there was no consensus, that is the consensus, right? They didn't have a consensus on water. That's why this guy was protesting it. That's why they did the research. He did the research, right? But the professionals, they were very arrogant, we'll say, and they didn't like the people telling them what to do. That's not a scientific consensus. That was just like an arrogance in the medical field. And doctors are not the only scientists in the world, and you could even say they weren't even scientists at all.
In the mid-19th century, it was not standard practice to teach doctors to wash their hands, and then hand washing was eventually introduced. It was with strong solution. Blah, blah, blah.
It's like saying there was no.
Understand what we're trying to say.
There's like saying there was no consensus to put on sunscreen until they did the research and saw that the sun's UV rays were harmful. That doesn't mean that before that there was a consensus the sun is safe. You should go out sunbathe and burn your skin all the time.
It was an advancement in medical science and understanding that stopped a lot of deaths, and it was an advancement. Okay. So before they didn't know, and now they do know. Let me give you an
example of what I mean. Imagine I go out, I do the research, and I discover that frogs all have 3 legs. And then later research comes and completely disproves me after the whole scientific community agreed with me. Frogs have 3 legs. Someone comes out, does research, and he's like, actually, you're an idiot. Frogs have 2 legs. And now our entire understanding is shifted, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Not like before, people were like, hey, this is maybe true, or we don't know, or we just do this because this is what we do. And then we did something.
This is more important than frogs having 2 or 3 legs.
It's not about the importance. It's not about importance. It's about
10 to 16% of maternal mortality.
This is a river flowing forward. You're claiming that it's double backing on itself, destroying itself with this new piece of information that fundamentally destroys our understanding of something, and that's not how it works.
Yeah, learning about germs did.
The river doesn't flow uphill, bro. It doesn't flow uphill.
No, the scientific advancement of understanding what germs are was definitely a revolutionary time that did absolutely.
What did scientists think caused disease before they learned about germs?
Yeah,
nothing. They had no idea, right? So what exactly? So what old scientifically accepted truth was shattered by discovering germs? Nothing, because they had no idea what was causing disease. It's really that simple, right? They were doing research into bad blood. They were replacing people's blood. They were doing this. They were doing that because they had no idea. There was no consensus on what was causing these disease until they found out about germs. So you can't say germs shattered a previous scientific notion. There was no previous scientific notion. There was no previous scientific notion about still water, about all of these things, right? I'm asking you, when has a new discovery shattered an old discovery? It like It's really simple.
I'll find you one. I just can't believe I have to find it for you. Scientific.
You said it happens all the time. So I thought you would just have like one example in mind.
This was your claim, let's not forget. Your claim was the reason you don't believe in science is because science is constantly doubling back on
You're already wrong.
Was it not?
I'm saying that we should question science because it changes a lot.
It doesn't change. When we talk about science, we talk about consensus, right? A consensus among the scientific community across the world that never
science
ever
is constantly
changes.
changing with recent shifts, including the understanding that COVID-19 is airborne.
You're reading headlines and thinking this is
ChatGPT. I literally
you're beating your head up against the wall, bro.
Last time science changed. I have to Google that for you because you're asking.
What does it mean that science changed? I'm asking about scientific consensus. Do you understand? I don't think you know what a scientific consensus is. It means all scientists across the world have done research, they're peer-reviewed, and they found that this thing is true beyond doubt.
It's the current consensus. The current consensus changes. That is the scientific
If we
community.
say the WHO or the CDC said one thing and then changed their mind, that's not science changing. Do you understand? Because they're not the scientific community. Okay.
Because they've made a development and they're like, hey, we have to make this for the better. So it's changing now. We've understood this development and it's better now.
I don't think I'm sorry, you don't know what a scientific consensus is.
It's the modern consensus of where people stand and where we're at right now. Like the best idea
that's not
we
what
have
a scientific
but it's completely
the best idea we have
it's
currently is not a scientific consensus. A scientific consensus is the only idea.
Is science subject to change, yes or no?
That depends on what you mean by science.
Direction. And it depends on what you mean by change. It means it totally depends
because that's not a question.
Physics
what do you mean by science? Does scientific consensus change?
No, it's a very simple question. Is science subject to change?
Can you define science so I can answer that question?
Do I need to fucking Google science for you?
Yes, please. Please, yes, please.
Yeah,
science is a systematic pursuit of knowledge in a body of knowledge.
Does the pursuit of knowledge change over time? Yes. Is that what you're asking me?
What we learn changes because we don't know
what we learn changes, but you said this is a pursuit, not the actual knowledge. So what am I answering?
I'm honestly losing it a little bit here.
You should, because you make no sense.
You got me there, buddy. You got me.
Yep, what is the actual argument happening here?
This is just, I have no idea.
The argument is that the Christianity is more perfectly believable than science.
Science stays the same, and there's no advancements in technology, science, nothing. Everything has stayed the same.
Okay.
It's just
let's run by your logic. Let's run by your logic. When the first CPU came out, and it was like the size of an entire building just to make a computer, and now we have laptops. Have we just obliterated the technology that made the last computer? Is that wrong? Is that science incorrect?
I don't even know what you're fucking trying to ask me right now, dude.
You can't even comprehend this question of whether new technology means the old technology was wrong.
I'm struggling to find where you're at so I can level with you just to answer that question. It's hurting me a little bit because of you're not.
Where does it hurt?
I have to argue. The fact that I have to argue that science is ever changing and science is a systemic pursuit of knowledge that requires changing. So our understanding of the computer that filled the room...
You're not telling me what changes. That's the issue. You're not telling me what changes.
The analogy you just used, like the computer that filled the room, and now we just have computers that can hold in our hands.
Yes.
Is that previous technology wrong? No, but we figured out flaws. We figured out things that
we didn't figure out flaws or something that was wrong. We improved our understanding, right? It's only a flaw if you have a goal in mind.
How did we make it faster if it wasn't there to begin with? The flaw was that we didn't know how that worked, and we didn't have what we had.
A flaw is an adjective that you are using using your own standards and your own
I can't do
goals.
this anymore.
Otherwise, we would say all technology today is flawed because it could
you're right.
be improved
I
by
don't
some
even know
measure.
why you gotta engage your this shit. Like, this is all just like a sort of little appendix on the "my religion is perfect" thing. Why not focus on like the positive claim? Because that's
Her positive claim is
obviously
that
she knows
science
nothing
can't
about
be trusted
science.
because it's ever changing.
Science we should be skeptical of science. That's my only claim. You should always question because we don't know. Science is not 100%. That's it.
Science
But
isn't a monolith
you're
or a
equating
dogma to begin with,
advancements.
though.
We used to think
It's just
in
a
medical
methodology.
history, we used to think that like there's been so many medical things that we've tried. We used to give out opiates. We used to drill people holes in people's heads.
We used to have priests doing medicine.
It wasn't the
Do you think we
right
should
thing
go back
to
to
do.
that? I mean, your religion is perfect, so why don't we get rid of all this
No, I don't
doctor
want to.
stuff
No,
and just replace them with nuns, like back in the day?
Good deflection. Bring it back to religion because obviously you've just driven me insane. You've made me go 15 minutes of my life trying to explain how science is changing.
I'm going to explain to you what
and
I think you're lacking.
You for that.
Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this to you.
You just rage baited me.
I'm not rage baiting you. The scientific consensus means that scientists across the globe have a really, really good understanding of something in a way that it will likely never change. Such as the germ theory of disease. We will never go back one day and say maybe germs actually do not cause disease.
We understood at one point,
what does
were
happen,
worse than what we thought, but
what does happen,
the general public was that these germs were fine, just like we had fucking asbestos.
No
in
one
our walls,
said. No one said germs were fine. No
Did
scientist said asbestos is safe. That's not what happened.
But we still put it in people's walls.
Who's we? Are you saying scientists put it in your walls, or are you saying manufacturers put it in your walls?
I'm saying we didn't know, so you're saying that because we didn't know it
Don't equate the scientific community with all of humanity, okay? If a manufacturer wants to put asbestos in your walls, he's not going to go and consult a scientist to see if it's safe or not.
You're focused more on browbeating her than, like, correcting these sort of wrong things.
I mean, this is just insanity. The scientific consensus can always grow to include more things as we learn them.
You're not making any sense. You're not making any sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why are you making a religion out of science right now? Why aren't you just attacking her religion?
Yeah,
why are you pretending that science is like a monolithic, dogmatic thing? Science is a process.
Just do what everybody else does.
It isn't even like one thing. Science is many, many things. Like she's not incorrect. She's like, oh, science
how is science
perfect
many things?
Or whatever.
What?
Science
is many different things, man.
Like
science
what?
covers many different areas.
We don't know science. We don't have it figured out. No scientist is going to be like, yep, I know everything about science and we have it figured out. Here's the exact direct answer. Doctors don't even know what they're doing. If you go to a
doctor is not a scientist.
Like, do you understand what I'm fucking like? I'm talking
about
I don't. Human beings. These are all humans. You realize these aren't just robots that we've made. These are
all human beings scientists? No, so we're only talking about scientists, right?
Help me. I can't do this anymore.
I know. Basic logic is just... I think it's a little beyond you.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, yeah. She has common sense from the Stone Age.
It makes me happy to know that I understand the fact that science changes.
I'm happy.
And it makes me sad. It makes me sad, even though I'm upset at you and I don't like you as a person. It makes me sad that you don't understand that science changes.
Okay. I have no idea what your name is, other guy.
Science definitely changes, man. There's nothing wrong with that. That's sort of like the whole point. Science does advance.
You cannot tell me what you mean when you say science changes.
Understand.
Do you mean that the scientific knowledge changes?
He is immune to the fact that science could be wrong.
Yes, I'm immune to facts. Thank you.
I don't think it's that he's like. You're just not understanding definitions here. Like it's not. He's not. Right. He's not immune to the fact that people can be wrong. He's not saying that everyone that pursues the pursuit of science is fucking right. It's not like that's what he's saying at all. Like
we could throw out an example.
Please, please do.
So, for example, much of the history of our understanding of genetics, right? We were looking at it as a field of probability, and while it's still for cost measures or just difficulty to retrieve information, we still have to deal with many aspects of genetics as if it were a field of probability. We do understand that what is inherited, what isn't, is not like a quantum field of improbability. Like there are underlying protein mechanics that govern inheritance. Although you can very effectively predict inheritance.
So you're saying we have better we've made advancements in our understanding, or are you saying that this is a field we don't 100% understand?
He has a narrative.
I'm saying we've made advancements in our understanding, and that it does in fact mean that the situation has changed.
Okay. What? How does that? How does that prove?
I think about it like a river, though. I use the analogy of the river. It's like it's like yes, the river widens, but it's like it's still flowing down river, right?
Right.
It's like we're still building upon the previous past stuff. It's not.
So what Kate was saying. Kate was saying that. Kate was saying that a new advancement has new advancements completely obliterate the old advancements and show that the old advancements were completely wrong. I'm saying science advances and progresses, right? The scientific community has certain... the scientific community has...
I don't even need to count it. I have no idea.
It drove me off my point. The scientific community has consensus on certain facts, and those consensus only grow, right? They never look back and say, we've all consented that this thing is true with so much ample evidence, and now we're going to say that this thing is false, like the germ theory of disease. Individual scientists, some labs, this and that, they can be wrong. What about that one
vaccine that they gave girls in like the early 2000s where it like made them all really sick and the doctors were like, oh, sorry, here's a bunch of money. We're going to like take that vaccine back.
A vaccine made people sick?
Yeah, like a failed vaccine. Yeah, it made a bunch of people sick and then they were all paid a bunch of money. It was to girls. It had something to do with their uteruses in the early 2000s.
HPV.
Something like that. There was a vaccine that was like really bad and it was like
was this back when they were testing it only on men?
Are you telling me you don't think that there's any adverse reaction? Like, hey, this is safe, we know what we're doing. You think we're that fucking smart?
There was one private company or a couple of private companies producing. There wasn't a unilateral consensus.
My friend was affected by that. It was
well, I hope your friend got $1 million.
She didn't.
What are you talking about?
Well, maybe she wasn't affected.
HPV vaccines. They increase the chance of cervical cancer. I believe that's what she's talking about.
ADHD vaccines.
HPV vaccines. The increase the end of action increase.
ADHD vaccines.
I don't say. Hold on. I mean, I have not heard that.
Yeah, I need to get me a fucking ADHD vaccine. Jesus.
I'm trying to tell you, like, all I'm trying to say is that science changes, and that I'm being argued,
Wait.
and it won't go away. You won't stop. You're still standing on this hill that science doesn't change. That there's never been a vaccine that hasn't had an adverse reaction.
I mean, you do know that HPV itself causes cancer, right? So, I mean, if you're treating like, for example, if the vaccine gives you like an extra 5% chance.
This shit and help me here because it's driving me crazy.
I have one question.
What?
I have one question. Were y'all saying that it causes specifically testicular cancer to rise?
God, that's not the point.
Doesn't matter. The point, yeah. The point is the point of the conversation is about science. It's not about any one particular vaccine.
No. I was asking because like the only thing I know chemical related that causes like such resurgency in a testicular cancer is PFAS.
No. I've wasted too much time. That's not the point. It's been an hour in. I need everybody in here to say that science changes.
Look, I'm just so glad.
Science changes.
Thank you.
That's not in the way you mean it. Here's the thing. I agree that science changes. Science is a dynamically evolving field of study. Absolutely, the methods, the tools, and the knowledge obtained. But what you said originally, your original statement, I still categorically disagree with.
Look, I'm just saying.
And that's
saying,
the problem.
Well, yeah, obviously, because her argument was that science isn't perfect, but her religion is, right?
Exactly. That was exactly her whole point.
Stuck in the mud about something.
The issue is that she's equating scientific advancements with everything. So if one scientist makes a vaccine and that vaccine has a problem, that means all of science was wrong, even if that was not the consensus.
It means the science that was put into that was wrong.
The science is like an injection. They injected the science.
They did it wrong.
Into the
Shut up!
scientist.
Shut up!
And he became a scientist
Donald
through
Trump
the
Garfield
They did it wrong.
talking.